Yo, what is up, everybody? Chris here from FaZe Sports News, Rotation, however the flip you know me in these interwebs, and today I'm going to be doing a follow-up to yesterday's video, which of course was me telling you guys my thoughts on Riyadh Falcons, the LA Thieves, and G2 Minnesota in terms of how they can continue to be top teams within the league and maybe rise up in the standings with some great play. So, speaking of teams that have had great play throughout the entirety of the first bit of our season, we have the top three, Gentlemates, OpTic Texas, and FaZe Vegas. Today, I'm going to be looking at these three teams, seeing what they've done well, and seeing how they can press the advantage to keep that dominance over the rest of the league. Now, without getting too much into the weeds, let's look at all three of our top tier teams. As you guys can see, Paris Gentlemates stand atop all of our teams in the CDL. 150 CDL points, 9-3 series win-loss record, 75% win rate, 31-20 in maps. This is map win percentage, 61%. Hardpoint 15-5, 75% win rate on that. S&D 11-7, 61% win rate on that. And then Overload 5-8, that's their Achilles heel. They're 38% on that. So OpTic Texas 64% series win rate, 60% map win rate, 10-7 in hardpoint, 8-6 in S&D, and then 8-4 in overload. So OpTic Texas is solid across the board in all three modes. There isn't really one that significantly lags behind any of the other. So yeah, that's a great showing for them. And then lastly, FaZe Vegas 70% series win rate, 69% if you want to be exact, 59% map win rate, a little bit lower than the other two, but just comparatively by 1%. 10-10 in HP, 11-7 in S&D, which is obviously a really good percentage for them, and then 69% win rate in Overload. They're 9-4, by far their best mode. So let's go team by team. Of course, we'll start with FaZe Vegas. They're 9-4 in series. Of course, their losses came to Gentlemates, G2, and G2 twice. So yeah, that's kind of interesting, right? The only two times that they've lost were to, well, they also lost to Thieves. They got 3-0 by Thieves. Did they not? Yeah, there's so many matches that we have 2 pages worth of matches. So 3-0 by Thieves, lost to Gentlemates, and lost to G2. So yeah, it's really a matchup thing for them. That loss to Thieves was obviously in the beginning of the year. They just got absolutely, they got the door slammed on them. Very close in all three maps, has to be said. So yeah, I mean, close series there. And then G2, it was a matchup thing. And Gentlemates, honestly, they just choked that. If you guys know, they went up 5-2 and lost 4 straight. So that was a Neptune Diffie kind of move. So realistically, this FaZe team, it's a game of inches. They've made small mistakes that have really cost them in the 4 series that they've lost. And G2 was honestly just a matchup and momentum thing. They lost momentum early on, and it looks like G2 is just a team that matches up well with them. So 9-4 in series, 30-21 in maps, 1.07 team KD, 51 maps played. Lost the last match that they played, obviously, against Gentlemates to get eliminated from Major 1. And yeah, their team IR is 1.01, so they're considered to be an elite team. And looking at it, like I said, their overload best mode 9-4, so not really a lot to take away from that. Their objective efficiency in there, as well as just their slaying differential, is definitely something to look at. So S&D, similar story, 11-7 in there, 1.12 KD. Simp has just been taking over, and so has Abuza with that sniper. And now Drazah's been playing a lot better, so I feel like their S&D is only going to get more confident, right, as the year goes on, because all 4 of those guys are S&D players at heart, and they're all really good S&D players in the CDL. So Booza, 04, Simp, and Drazah, any of them can take over, win you a map, get 11 kills, 12 kills, what have you. So yeah, I feel like their S&D is going to continue to be good, and their hardpoint definitely needs some work. So I feel like they need to definitely figure out 04's pacing a little bit more, because when 04 is out of the play and his pacing is a little bit off, Simp really suffers as well. So getting that duo going is really crucial to their success and their improvement in becoming more consistent in that mode. But overall, their hardpoint is not that bad. I mean, they're even 50% win rate, so they have a 50-50 chance depending on who they match up against and what the map looks like. So FaZe, they look pretty solid. Definitely need to improve that hardpoint. They need to definitely improve how they decide to like close out some of these S&Ds. A lot of their S&D losses came from not closing things out, letting teams get back in, letting teams figure out how to hard counter them. So more late game adjustment stuff than anything, and really figuring out how to close out some of these close games against good teams, just like the Paris Gentleman series, right? 5-2 up to a massive loss. That's happened more than once this season where they had big lead and they should have closed out the map and they didn't. So, looking at OpTic Texas, they are 7-4. Honestly, they've been pretty good this season. They just had a really weird slip in form like halfway through the stage, so that accounts for most of their losses this season. They've honestly been a top tier team. They just had a couple bad weeks that kind of bled into each other. So, looking at them, 7-4, like I said, 26-17 in maps, 1.02 team KD. So, not as high as you'd expect from a team like OpTic, but start of the year, they're getting their footing, and they're on a one-loss streak. Obviously, they lost to the Gentlemates, but before that, they were perfect in maps at their own event, so looked great. Looking at their losses, of course, they all came kind of in a bunch, right? So, in a 2-week period, they had 3 losses. So, from the 10th to the 24th, they were at their most vulnerable, losing to LA Thieves, Carolina Royal Ravens, and FaZe Vegas, who, must be said, at the time, were 3 of the top teams in the world, so not really that embarrassing. And then their other loss came in the grand finals against Paris Gentlemen. So you can't really be too mad at that. It's a Game 7 loss, right? Like, I mean, you made it to Game 7. So OpTic looked great so far. They need to keep up their dominance in the overloads. 8-4 in that, by far their best game mode, right? And, I mean, they've just looked great in that. Their objective efficiency is definitely some of the best. They've also had some close games where they clutched up and kind of figure out how to adjust late game and pull things back from the brink, right? Thing like when they were down 2-1 or 2-0 to G2 and they won 3-2 in in the winners or semifinals. Yeah, I mean they've had some really good overload showings that prove that they really know how they want to play that and that they're pretty dominant when they get to be on maps that are a little bit more favorable to them. So S&D, they really need to improve a lot of their late game calls and kind of their strats. It's early in the game, so I figure that'll get worked out over time and just with more experience. Not really a lot to be worried about. And then in the HB, they looked really good. I think it's just a matter of getting all their players on the same page. Excuse me. Hook and Shotzzy have been kind of finding their footing in this game, so that's going to take time. But if you're OpTic, you're still the number 2 seed, and you just won EWC and Champs. So as long as you're not getting absolutely hard counted out the gate as the team that won the back half of the season and became the team to beat, you've got to feel pretty good. You still have that dominant factor where you can dominate teams and, they know that you're world champs. There's not a lot they can do with the personnel. And, as long as you keep that as a team like OpTic, you'll definitely be one of the top tier teams. The rest of the small things just are a matter of coaching and practice, which will materialize over time. So, looking at Gentlemates, not a lot of takeaways from them. 9-3 in series, 75% win rate on their series, 31-20 in maps, 1.04 team KD, 51 maps played, 2 series win streak, obviously beating FaZe Vegas and OpTic Texas back-to-back to take Major 1. Hardpoint, dominant, 15-5. I mean, they're the best hardpoint team in the league by a mile. S&D looks great, 11-7. I mean, a lot of wins, not a lot of losses. And a lot of their losses came up against good teams like FaZe Vegas or teams like OpTic Texas. So, mates, they've had a real difficulty of schedule. They've been tested a lot, and they've passed a lot. So, they just look really good. And then in the overload, that's one thing they need to improve on, 5-8 overall, especially against top-tier teams. It feels like they just don't have a lot to offer in this mode yet. So, I think that's just a matter of the game kind of developing, them practicing, and figuring out what they want to do with their coaching staff. So yeah, I mean, for mates, like, if you improve this overload, everything else looks phenomenal. So not really a lot to do to improve and maintain that dominance. I think it'll be interesting to see a non-OpTic or FaZe or large branded team as a top dog potentially for the season. So I hope Gentlemates can maintain this level of dominance over the rest of the league, even though it's early in the game. I think they will, just with the personnel, the skill that all these guys have, and the way that they've played the game. I think their teamwork and just the way that they play is second to none right now, and I think they will keep up that dominance. So yeah, that's all 12 teams. If you miss any, be sure to go back and check out some of the previous videos in this series where I go over how teams can improve and what they look like right now. So yeah, Hope you guys enjoyed this. Hope you have a great morning, noon, or night. Just want to try something a little bit different. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Once again, this is Chris from Fake Sports News, X Rotation. However, if you know me, these interrupts, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.